Under the incandescent glare of Hollywood's most unforgiving lights, Marilyn Monroe stood as both goddess and ghost, a radiant figure adored by millions, yet haunted by shadows no lens could capture. Beneath that shimmering smile and platinum hair lay a woman forged in loneliness, whose very existence became a battleground between invention and reality. Tonight, we unravel the glittering myth to reveal the tender, tormented life of Norma Jean and the perplexing mysteries of her final hours that still refuse to yield a single, definitive answer. Born Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1, 1926, her first home was neither warm nor welcoming. Her mother, plagued by severe mental illness, cycled through psychiatric hospitals, leaving infant Norma Jean adrift in a succession of foster homes and an orphanage. Tales of neglect and abuse colored her earliest memories, instilling trauma that would never fully heal. By the time she reached 16, the teenager saw marriage not as a leap of love, but as an escape hatch. She wed her neighbor Jim Doherty, trading emotional turmoil for a veneer of stability, yet the promise of normalcy remained forever out of reach. A chance modeling assignment in the mid-1940s illuminated a new path. Photographers praised her delicate features and shy smile, and soon a studio executive whispered a bold transformation: bleach her hair, refine her voice into that iconic breathy drawl, sculpt her into something the world had never seen. Thus, Norma Jean slipped away, and Marilyn Monroe emerged, a larger-than-life creation meticulously crafted to mesmerize. Small film roles followed, each one polishing the myth until studios believed they had discovered the ultimate box office magnet. Yet Marilyn refused to be confined to the dumb blonde stereotype. She traveled to New York, enrolling in acting workshops with revered teachers, dissecting dramatic scripts, and bearing her psyche in pursuit of authenticity. Drawing upon her childhood wounds, she delivered performances of fierce vulnerability that stunned both audiences and critics. Even as her fame soared, she wrestled with a private identity crisis. Was she simply a bright mask, or could the real Norma Jean find refuge behind the bleach blonde facade? Married first to Joe DiMaggio in early 1954, Marilyn sought solace in the baseball legend's stoic presence. Their small ceremony at San Francisco's City Hall seemed a fairy tale, until Joe recoiled from her public persona. When the iconic subway vent skirt scene of the 7-year-itch hit screens, he felt humiliated rather than proud. Their union dissolved after just 9 months, with Marilyn citing mental cruelty, a sign that even marriage could not anchor her restless spirit. Hope flickered again when she wed playwright Arthur Miller in 1956. Her conversion to Judaism symbolized a willingness to bridge worlds, to blend intellect and stardom into one harmonious life. For a time, she believed she had found the understanding she craved, until Miller's private notes betrayed disappointment, and a series of miscarriages hollowed her from within. Their divorce in January 1961 unfolded just before the release of The Misfits, Miller's parting gift, marking another dream lost to reality's harsher hues. Rumors of romances with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert swirled like tabloid fog. May 1962 found her at Madison Square Garden, draped in rhinestones, singing a breathless, "Happy Birthday, Mr. President." The tension in her voice hinted at more than celebration. Half the nation whispered of secret trysts and whispered threats. As whispers grew, it seemed that once again, the glittering stages of power had ensnared her vulnerable heart. On the evening of August 4, 1962, Marilyn was seen in high spirits, planning future film projects, scribbling ideas in a notebook. After friends departed, only she remained in her Brentwood home, reading late into the night. At some point before dawn, her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, claimed to have checked on her, yet stories of when and how often that happened would shift in later accounts. By 3 a.m., psychiatrist Dr. Ralph Green's son allegedly smashed a window to gain entry, as though barred from a truth the world was not yet ready to confront. The official coroner's report cited acute barbiturate poisoning and ruled her death a probable suicide. But glaring contradictions taint that verdict. No glass of water by her bed, no pill fragments in her stomach, and toxicology readings suggesting drug levels high enough to imply injection rather than ingestion. Phone logs and 911 call records vanished or were never logged, and the therapy tapes in which Marilyn's voice sounded hopeful were mysteriously erased. Even the timeline of an ambulance sighting. Some neighbors claim to see one at 10 p.m., long before any public alarm, remains unverified, a haunting footnote to the official story. Over the years, investigators and biographers have offered competing explanations. Some point to her lifelong struggle with depression and an overwhelming dose of prescription sleeping pills. Others suspect foul play, that powerful interests, fearful of secrets Marilyn might reveal, orchestrated a cover-up. Names like Sinatra, the Kennedys, and Hollywood studios appear in whispers of clandestine meetings and hurried cleanups, as though agents swept through her home to erase any trace of inconvenient truths. Yet no smoking gun has ever emerged. In 1982, public outrage prompted a re-examination by Los Angeles authorities, but the conclusion remained unchanged, either an act of self-destruction or a tragic accident, with no evidence solid enough to label it homicide. Still, the unanswered questions about the missing evidence, the conflicting witness statements, and the vanished recordings persist like unsettled ghosts, demanding resolution. Marilyn Monroe's legacy defies simple categorization. She was a survivor who clawed her way from orphanages to the zenith of global fame, inspiring countless others to believe in reinvention. She fought tirelessly to be seen not only as a dazzling spectacle, but as a woman of intellect, depth, and complexity. And when her life ended abruptly, the world lost more than a starlet. It lost an enduring enigma whose story continues to captivate across generations. In the final analysis, the truth about Marilyn's death may remain elusive, but her brilliance shines undimmed, an immortal reminder that even the brightest lights cast the deepest shadows.